Greetings, everybody. This is your boy Thelton Hudson III. I want to talk to you for a minute about anxiety. I suffer from anxiety ever since I was a child. However, 15 years ago, I was healed. I was healed from anxiety. I went to the church and listened to the preacher, and he preached to me about Philippians, the fourth chapter, where it states that I should rejoice in the Lord always. I want to read it to you. It say, rejoice in the Lord always. That's verse 4. And again, I say, rejoice. Verse 5. Let your moderation be known unto all men. The Lord is at hand. Be careful for nothing, but in everything by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known unto God. So pretty much you're just giving all your cares to God and not holding it within. Once you release something to another person, it's no longer yours. So if you're releasing your thoughts and your worries and your concern to God, there's nothing that will hinder you. And with that being said, I want to tell you about this prophecy and this vision that God has given me maybe 5 years ago. I was in meditation and God showed me this big bubble hovering over the earth. And this big bubble separated us from the heavenlies. Okay. Two different heavens in this occasion right here. You have God's heaven and you have our heavens, which is the sky and below. Okay, up under this bubble is a whole bunch of fear. One of the causes of fear is because of greed. If you pay attention to the media, to idols, if you pay attention to celebrities and you see that everybody is out to get something in this world, everybody got to have it. They have to have the money. They have to have the show. They have to have the riches and fames, the big cars and all that. And everybody's chasing that. You know, the billionaires, the top 1%. They build buildings, entities. They build something from probably $100,000 into a multi-billion-dollar business. One way of building wealth is building off people's fears. If you can keep 99% of the population in fear, that's a moneymaker right there. For example, if you convince politicians, people to vote for you, because if you don't, America is through for. China is going to come a bomb us, or North Korea is going to come a bomb us, and I am the one who can help you out. That's fear. So you got your political votes, okay? You have multi-millionaires and multi-billionaires investing into this politician to win. So they tell the politician what to say and how to win. It's very strategic. Yeah. Pharmaceutical. The business of pharmacy is tremendously wealthy. Okay, they have anxiety pills, they have depression pills, they have things to keep you calm, things to keep you up, cannabis. They have all these things going on to make wealth. Security at the airport, that's a multi-billion-dollar business also. The rigged thing that happened 911, in which America has rigged that, they did that to gain more wealth, because of what it does, it hire more security and it builds wealth to 1% of the population, which is the top wealthiest people on earth. And the bottom half, the bottom portion of it, the 99%, well, not the half, the bottom part, the 99% is walking around with fear and fear. They spending their money. They spending all their money on car insurance, life insurance, medication, therapy, counseling, and all this stuff. It makes wealth. It creates wealth. But what God has given me in that prophecy / vision, He given me this. It's what He told me to tell to you people. He told me to tell you to fear not, for the Lord is at hand. Okay. That bubble I was telling you about. Above that bubble is peace and prosperity. Below the bubble is a whole bunch of torment. This is what causes anxiety. Anxiety just doesn't grow in you. It has to be inflicted in you. Just like HIV, it has to be given to you. Any type of disease has to be given to you. So the way to create anxiety is to put pressure on people, to provoke them, to make them believe something that they should not believe in. Now, if you look past everything's that happening below the bubble, wars, rumors of wars, police brutality, gang banging, false doctrines, the church system is going corrupt. They're working just like the world and the government. For instance, church nowadays is a business. I want to put this out there. Some people think that it is a place, where you give your money, and then once you give all your money, God's going to bless you with more money, more favor. The church itself, according to the book of Philippians, second chapter, the church itself is not a building. It is us, the people. The people is the church. In that chapter, it tells us that we should love one another. We should be in communion with one another. We should be in accord with one another. If you call yourself believers, we should be united as one. Church buildings cannot unite. Back in the Old Testament days and the New Testament days, people, they met up in houses and caves and groups. Nowadays, in modern day society, every church must be built from the ground. It must be worth at least $5 million. And those church buildings is sitting on a corner where our businesses used to be. Black people, urban community. Back in the 60s and 70s, it was mom and pop stores on those corners there. There's no difference between the liquor store and the gas stations that the brothers of my Arabian brothers and Chaldean brothers, they build. They build in the same spot on the corner because it draws attraction. However, they take their money back to the suburbs and spend it and build up their own community. They take from the urban city and go out into the suburbs and build. Same thing that leaders of the church do. They live in the suburbs. They take from their own people, their own community, and they go back to their houses, to their community and their suburbs and build. And if you look around the churches, there's nothing but scrap, vacant houses, paper everywhere, a whole bunch of gang banging, a whole bunch of confusion. There's nothing being done. The church system needs to be careful because this is not the way God told us to do. He told us to pay our tithes. That's true enough. He told us to give offerings. That's true enough. But when you're telling people to give their last money, when you're making up these holidays, Shepherd's Day, you got to give Father's Day, the pastor, children's birthday, the wife's birthday, and then supplemented the real Mother's Day for the First Lady Day because that's your spiritual mother. So after you done celebrate all these holidays within the church, just giving and giving and giving all your seed. I plant your seed at the pastor's feet. You at home broke. You don't even have enough money to invest in a business you want to grow. But however, you building someone else's business. That's what it is. Church is a multi-billion-dollar business. You building someone else's business. And when the leader of the church dies, he's going to pass it along to his family member. What do you have to pass along to your family member? I'm talking about building. I'm talking about the community. I'm not trying to downgrade churches because you do have good churches out there. You have churches out there that are really feeding the homeless. They're praying for people. The only thing they're asking for is tithes and offerings. There's nothing wrong with that to help people, help the pastor, of course, and to help people out in their community. I can respect that, but the way the churches are ran now is ran like a business. There's 80% of women in churches, 20% of men. A lot of men have left the church because they realize and they figure out this ain't nothing but a whole bunch of bull crap. Okay. I'm in sales. I've been in sales for a while. Okay. The type of sales that I do, we do not look for males because the males are not impulsive. Women are. Women love to shop. Women love to buy things. So that's the reason why we scope down on a woman and pull her in and have a tour with her and hopefully she'll buy. We're attracted to women in sales because they buy, they spend money. It doesn't work the same with men because men is more mental than emotional than women. I remember one pastor used to tell his congregation, do not go home and discuss anything about what's going on in the church as far as finances and other things. Don't discuss that because, it's a sin against God. See, what they're afraid of is that the husband might get into the wife's head and what he should, by biblical principle because he's the head, and tell him the truth. But this is not how it's done. The Bible tells us this: give and shall be given to you. You should not be provoked to give. You should not be forced to give. So whatever your heart desires, that's what you give. You don't give just because. You're not going to get blessed for it anyway. So that's the same thing in my sales department. We don't usually allow men to come to our tours, not unless they are married to that person and they're sitting right there in your face and you're able to talk to both of them. And then you can convince the husband at that time that this is a good deal and you cannot miss this. You cannot miss this one bit. So with the church system being corrupt right now, and they're working the same way as the businesses and the government, which is a business also, and the pharmaceutical system and all that stuff is a business, money-making business. Greed is greed is greed is greed. So with that being said, is that all these bad things, all these impulsive things and all these corrupt things are up under the bubble. But God, he was telling me to tell you this, that you have to reach above the bubble. You have to reach above the bubble because once you have overcame that bubble, or once you have put a hole in that bubble and hit your fist through that bubble, there's nothing but open space. That's where you receive the Holy of Holies. And once you get there, there's freedom. It's lack of depression, lack of anxiety. You do not have any concern in this world because you have that relationship with God. And once you get there, it'll be less strain on your brain. You have to worry about anxiety. You have to worry about spending your money on this, spending your money on that, because you are free. And this is what Paul is saying in the book of Corinthians, saying, be careful for nothing. That means do not have anxiety. But in everything, by prayer and supplication, let your requests be made known unto God. That is prayer. That is prayer there. It's a clear conversation between you and God. It's not all about getting down on your knees, bowing down, or throwing up your hands in the air. It's all about communicating with God, the same way I'm communicating with you. Okay? And for you all who communicate back through text or comments and stuff, that's a dialogue. Same way that God works. There's nothing like speaking to someone and they're not talking back. God, he's the God. He talks back. You talk to him, he'll talk back to you. Oh, yeah, we have that gift to hear from God. Depends how strong your relationship walk is with God. If you have a strong communication with God, he will speak back to you. He will speak to you in dreams, visions. He can speak through you through people. He can even speak to you through television. If you let him, as corrupt as television is, he can speak to you through that also. You just got to center yourself and stay grounded in God. And then the scripture goes on and says in the 7th verse, and the peace of God shall be with you, shall keep your heart and mind, and it passes all understanding. Once you get to this place, people will think you're crazy because you're having all the trouble in the world. You are going through this, your house is in foreclosure, they're about to take your car. Your kids are acting up. Seem like you're about to lose your mind, and one day you just give it all to God, and you're walking around with so much peace. And people don't understand why you have so much peace. They think you're weird because you're walking around floating. No, you're not weird. It's just that you done gave all your anxiety to God, and you're not worried about a damn thing. Yeah. And Paul goes on to say, finally, brethren, whatever things are true, whatever things are honest, whatever things are just, whatever things are pure, whatever things are lovely, whatever things are of good report, if there be any virtue and if there be any praise, think on these things. In between time, those are the things you should be thinking on. True things, honest things, just things, pure things, lovely things, good virtue things. You should think on all these things and give praise to God. That's how you keep your mind stable. This world that we live in is say that we must have the Louis Vuittons, we must have the Mercedes Benz, we must have the house on the hill. All of us not going to have that stuff. All of us not going to be millionaires and billionaires because somebody have to work for somebody. If everybody were business owners, who's going to work for who? There would be no jobs. Although the jobs nowadays, the slavery, minimum wage, you know what I'm saying? But still, who's going to work for you? That's the reason why God told you to strive for perfection. Striving on your own business. Strive, you be the lender instead of the borrower. Strive for perfection. Build wealth for your own family. Build prosperity for your own family. Leave something with your family when you leave this earth. Black people, get life insurance. Get life insurance. It will benefit you. It will benefit you to the highest degree. Because once you pass this earth, you're leaving wealth to your family. The Old Testament tells us that, leave something to your kids. Your kids will leave something to their kids. That's how Donald Trump is so wealthy. His father gave him those businesses. He passed it down. But it's different in the black community. We are so corrupt. Our communities are so corrupt. The government is hard on us. Police are hard on us. The church system is hard on us. Is that we stand in doormat. We stand in trash. We stand in garbage, and we're okay with that. And then when it's time for us to leave this earth, we have nothing to leave to our people. Yeah. The politician does. The business owner does. The pastor does. The greedy pastor does. Some pastors don't because they have spent all their lives helping other people with their finances. I'm not confusing this with the true pastors. I'm talking about majority of the pastors out there, the corrupt ones, the greedy ones who trying to keep up with the status quo. Trying to pay that $500,000 mortgage every month. Yeah, I'm talking about that pastor. We should always be satisfied with whatever we have. There was a song back in the 70s. You may not drive a great big Cadillac against the white walls, TV antennas in the back. Be thankful for what you got. That's the name of the song. Wherever you at, you have to be thankful. If you don't have a car, be thankful. Don't be anxious for a car. It'll come. If you don't have a house, be thankful. You will have a house one day. If you're homeless, be thankful. You will have somewhere to go one day. Whatever you at in life, be thankful. That's how you get above that bubble. Don't be pressured into doing something or getting something that you do not have right now. Once you bust that bubble wide open, there's nothing but open space, and you peep out that bubble, and you see all this freedom out there. There's a quote that says that the mind is wider than the sky. It is. And once your mind go there, there's all this space, all these things you can do. All these things you can do in the mighty name of Jesus. The Bible in this chapter even says, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. People, we have to learn how to be abased and be abound and be satisfied like Paul in the scripture. Even Paul, he learned how to be satisfied because he knew what God can do in situations and circumstances. He know what God can do if he really wanted something. All he had to do is go and pray. He know what God can do if he has asked. You understand that? Don't let this world system corrupt you. Don't let it keep you dissatisfied. Don't let it run you raggedy. Be thankful for who you are and what you got within. Be thankful for the gift that you have. You may have the gift of writing books. You might have the gift of architect. You might have a gift of cooking food. You might even have the gift of ministry. Whatever your gift is, put it to use. And watch God open the doors for you. And you will become wealthy. You will become successful, not only physical or financially or in the natural, but spiritual, most importantly. Whatever is bothering you, whatever you think about the most, is it good or is it bad? Is it prosperous or is it poor? Which one? So I encourage you on today, whatever is true, whatever is honest, whatever is just, whatever is pure, lovely, and of good reputation. And if there's any virtue, put your mind on those things. I just want to give you those words of encouragement. I'm going to do a part 2 of this. I'm talking about anxiety. Part 2 you want to watch because they're going to get into the psychological definition of anxiety. I gave you a little bit of freedom there spiritually, but I want you to walk this thing out and allow God to take your first step, your second step, your third step, and your last step. And be at peace, please. I love you.